Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the eBay Mastermind with Daily Refinement for the Resars podcast group, and appreciate everyone for stopping by. Apologize for being late today. Can't catch a break, but let's continue. So this week, we're going to be focusing on finding local profitable suppliers. I want everyone to think, ideally, you have 8 to 10 suppliers who can provide you the same thing, so there's no hiccups in supply along the way. And ideally, there's no shipping, so you can somehow pick it up. So that's going to be the main focus. Can you find enough stuff locally, and best practices to do that? So for me personally, I found that being known as a specific niche is always going to be the top way of doing it, because inventory will come to you. If you're not known as that particular person or that particular way to offload something, you'll always have to go and get it. And there's nothing really wrong with that. It's just part of your resale career, is looking for local suppliers. So we'll go around the horn, maybe ask how people are doing it now, what can be improved. And we'll start with Mary. Mary, good morning. How is your local supply chain, and anything we can help with?
Good morning. I think it's pretty good. I have a lot of Goodwills and thrift stores around me. I'm about an hour north of West Palm, 2 hours south of Orlando in Florida. So Orlando has huge bins. So I could go up there and source for a day or two and get a bunch of inventory for sure. I had a company in Tampa called CNC Wholesale, and they would send me boxes of stuff wholesale, and that was better. And I haven't seen them since the pandemic, so I was trying to find them again, because that was all new with tag stuff, which was really nice, at a pretty good deal. But I was just, looking. I used to have this huge death pile or money pile in my garage, and I called it my garage thrift store, and I finally closed that down. So I'm current with all my stock, and I just realized I photographed my last bit of goods that I have, so I need to go. I haven't run out in over a year, so this is new for me. So but I have plenty of Goodwills and mom and pops, but I would love to have it just shipped to me. So I would love, or just to go pick it up, like you said, locally. That would be great too.
Are you planning on starting a route, or how are you going to approach it?
Yeah, so I have this one route that takes me about a 30-minute loop from my house, that I'm able to hit a ton of good thrift stores. But I think what I would like to also do is we have an Amazon bin store, plus we also have some auction places and flea markets that I haven't explored, and I think those might be good places to go to meet some suppliers for sure.
Okay. And then are you going to have a set time each week you go, or how do you plan on putting it in your schedule?
So I have a full-time job, and I usually work about 10 hours on my full-time job. So I do eBay in the morning and at night. And I normally there's actually a Goodwill right down from my office in the same strip mall that opened up about a year ago, which was nice. But I only go into my office once a week. So I usually hit that on Thursdays, and the weekends are for sourcing. So a majority of it would have to be done on the weekends if I can't get out at night during the week to go.
All right. So inbound inventory for you, since you're in South Florida, right?
Yep.
There are a lot of suppliers. So I guess we can try looking up a little bit of wholesale, a little bit of new tags, start developing those relationships. From my experience, every single one of those relationships has been temporary.
Okay.
So I think maybe what you want essentially is a business to business vendor. That's what everybody here is looking for. Someone's business that's getting you inventory. So the most, because of where you live, you also have the ability to hire a buyer. Somebody could look for the things that you're looking for and bring them to you. And that would be the most reliable, but it's the most difficult to set up. Yesterday, I spent 6 hours with my new buyer looking around the flea market, looking for different opportunities. I don't think she gets it. So I'm going to try to figure out somebody else that has more of an eye. She really just looks for things that are cool. And I need her to not do that and look for things that sell. She has a really, really good eye for material, for brands, but is not thinking about whether or not it will sell. So, but I think most brick and mortar retail shops have a buyer. The buyer goes to conferences, vendors, um, expos, looking for things to put in the store. So that would
Right.
be the same for you. I think everyone in the group should experiment with looking for a buyer, somebody that can help them source X amount of inventory each week. So I'm going to add that to my list of
And
resources to help people with is the buyer.
I know a lot of the thrift stores in my areas have been actually turning away some donations.
Yep.
I was wondering if it'd be worth it to hit them up to take any of their excess that they can't process, or when they get stuff that they can't take, to like leave them my number to get a call to come get it, because I wouldn't mind sorting through it.
I've never actually heard of anybody successfully pull that off. I
Okay.
would love, like, can't I just park my truck at your donation center, and if it doesn't fit, just put it in my truck? That seems like that way you don't have to, and I'll even pay.
Right.
So I wonder, I don't know. That's like I do not recommend this, but there are people who go to the thrift shop before they open every single day, trying to pick up donations that people have left during the off hours of just so they can get free donations. It's not free, you're stealing from that
Right.
donation center, but that's um that or the I love that idea of becoming the extra, or I still don't have anybody in the group that has those bins that are everywhere. Like
The
how
Amazon
different
bins or the Goodwill bins?
the donation bins.
Oh, we have
Like,
donation bins, but they're like, it's like a mail slot. I
yeah,
mean, yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, how do those people do? They're everywhere.
Yeah.
So how much? I think they're around 600 to 800 bucks each. If you spent, let's say, instead of buying a new car, you bought 20 of those and drove a beater. After a month, would you start getting regular awesome
Right.
stuff? I don't know.
That's interesting.
Sherry in the chat wants to connect somebody with the flea market seller in Naples, Florida. That's great. I have been buying stores out left and right, and I'm excited about potentially connecting. I don't know how to connect that resource with the group. Right now, no one in the group is allowed to sell anything, but I think there's got to be ways of connecting people in the group that have too much inventory with people in the group that don't have enough, and also not burn people because sometimes the stuff doesn't sell or it's all lower end and people are getting rid of that kind of stuff. But yes, I'm gonna actually write that one down. How do you get the thrift store overflow? I don't know. You just rent a, it's almost like you just rent, because people would literally have to see it. They drive to Savers or Goodwill or Salvation Army, can't donate it, see your sign, drive over there. That, I don't know how else to do it. I don't think they would tell you, like, oh, we've got this lady with these awesome donations, come pick it up. So I don't know how.
Yeah, maybe it's more of a Craigslist ad that I'll save you the trip to the thrift store or to the Goodwill and I'll come pick it up, or you could drop it off on my porch or something.
I've had a few relationships in my life with the thrift store manager who has called me when they got a bunch of X. Like, hey, can you come get all this? I don't want to sort it. Then you show up, they exchange it with you because they don't want to deal with whatever. Um, actually is saying put a clothing box right next to a thrift store. You have to have a really good draw or reason on the box too. Like, replenish Mary's profit pile is not a good sign on the front. Only valuable donations, please.
Mary seems
Uh,
pretty nice. I think you should donate to her.
yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know. Put your face on it. I mean, I don't know how to get or it's like the people who have the um donation set up with a race, like a charity race. So let's say Arwen set up a UK half marathon, right? And let's say that it's free, he does all the work, works with the city, sets it up. But at the end of the race, you have to donate your trainers. Right? So then all 500 people donate the trainers. He's good for that month. Goes to part of it goes to a good cause. Maybe he donates $20 a pair to local charity, so they get 10,000 pounds, and he gets 500 pairs of trainers. I don't know. There's definitely things set up like that though, where I wonder, because there's so much stuff. Can we intercept the thrift store? You know, there's some creative things out there. My favorite sourcing thing ever is the trade-in program. When I was in Las Vegas for eBay Open, I went to the camera shop and they had a trade-in day. And this guy had a list of all the cameras, how much they were worth trade-in, um, and how much they were worth to sell the camera. And he was a third-party reseller at a camera shop that worked out with the camera shop. Let's do a big trade-in program. I'll do it. I'll buy every single pair camera thing that comes in. I'll buy it all. Chad would know how to do this with his experience. Probably he knows some gear stuff. So essentially, you get 500 people trading in their old equipment. The store will give you a piece of the pie on the trading because they get all new sales. So they're happy. They don't have to deal with any of the liability. They pass it on to you. And you get way nicer stuff because people are looking for new gear. Those are the right customers. Business customers also don't care. Like it might be worth $700 and they'll take 5. A consumer will not. They want all the money. A lot of them do. So it's almost like I paid like $3 a battery at that store because I needed it. Like they can charge so much because it's a commercial user. So I've now seen that at a couple of sneaker shops, trade in sneakers. So I wonder at the mall, maybe that would be a great way to get people to donate. I've never seen that at the mall either. Like trade in your clothes here only. We'll pay you on the cash on the spot for clothing. Maybe that would work. I'm gonna try that. I like the idea of a brick and mortar or a mall kiosk where people sell their clothing for money on the spot. Way easier than is a thread up where you have to send it in.
Well, can you do that at Plato? Do you guys have Plato's Closet out there?
Yeah, we have it.
So it's kind of similar, right? It's like
But Plato's Closet's only teeny bopper clothing.
Hmm.
Is that politically correct? Yeah, young women's clothing.
I think teen clothes is accurate.
They put it here. It's very odd. The 2 Plato's Closets that are near me are in office parks. I'm like, there's no high school. I don't get why. I don't know why they are there. That makes 0 sense to me. But clothes mentor for the mature woman. Thank you, Nina. I like it. At what? I'm not going to ask that question. I was going to say at what age is a woman considered mature, but I don't want to get shot. So let's go to Ben. Ben, what's up? How's your local?
Yeah, thanks. Well, I think the route we figured out is definitely the driving route. We don't have massive contacts yet, but we have built really friendships at the good locations we thrift, which are often Goodwill and estate sales. The Goodwill, we do have a route that we go, you mentioned that, the opposite of the traffic. And so we can get around pretty quickly. Within an hour, we can hit 5. That is what we drop off our packages and thrift at the same time. So we've located where they are right beside each other, and that's been super efficient. But the reality is we do 1 day off of no sourcing and just producing all the products either listed as in drafts or organized, and then 1 heavy day of sourcing back and forth, while maintaining now a regular 15 item to post. But we have 1 location that we have found, it's a Goodwill that we can just sit at for literally about 7 hours. And every minute they're putting out brand new carts with quite amazing things. And so that's been really helpful to have twice a week we go and do that, just because it's so easy. They just come right out to you. But
always the same day?
We alternate, but we do find Tuesdays and Thursdays to be the best.
Okay.
But we have made relationships by just being nice, because there's so many resellers that are unkind in the same place. It's incredible because they're greedy, but we just let, stand back one moment and then go to that cart. But the workers, because they're nice, will often hand us stuff out of kindness, and that has been really neat because we have built a relationship by just expressing what we're interested in, and they know that too. So like, oh, I think you like this, and this saves them a trip from having to put it on the shelf. So that has been our lesson we're learning, but it's all kind of over the, thank you for the mentorship, because we have changed our behavior by just sitting and observing everybody's stories. And so, yeah, that's where we're at right now. Continually learning though.
You can also ask for the nice guy discount or the young lady discount. That seems to work always. I like the nice guy discount because they might say you're not that nice, or do some kind of a back and forth, which is fun. Oh, hey, nice guy. That's like if you're known as that person, that's huge. And that is currency.
It has been, honestly.
It's absolutely currency. And also try and smile. It is massively important, really. If you're trying to do business with somebody, helps a lot.
Often in the store, we notice the characters that, the employees, what's their life story? How did they end up there? You're often seeing quite an age range. And so there's been a woman that is in her probably her 60s, but she owned a thrift store and owned for a nonprofit, I think, to help pets, but gave us a bunch of tips and things. Never would have known. She's just working at Goodwill because she enjoys it. But there's a lot of stories and things to learn just by, again, like you said, smile, be kind, and ask questions.
I love it. Let's go with Stephanie. Stephanie, good morning. Let's talk about your sourcing route.
Good morning. I am more of the Goodwill girl. I have one Goodwill in my area that I really enjoy and get good things from. I've had most of my luck there until recently. They've changed things, and now they used to allow the new parts to come out and you check on the new parts. So now they won't let us touch the new parts. So it's kind of made me feel so discouraged, because that was where I was getting the majority of my inventory from. And I would leave with hundreds of items every day that I went. So now it's kind of messed me up a little bit. So I'm constantly trying to search, and then I feel discouraged because once I've searched the whole store, they'll come out with a new rack and like, oh, nobody can touch that rack, and they'll put it in different spots. So then I'm kind of totally overwhelmed and not sure which way to turn. So that's kind of thrown me for a loop recently. But between that and my garage sales, that's about, the gist of it.
Can you network with the people that work there to give you a better idea?
I've tried. I talk with them sometimes. Some of them are real nice and they'll say, oh, there's something good coming out. But that's few and far between, and I try to be smiles, always nice, polite, quiet. And there's just a lot of people there that get on, that bother, especially the manager, and she gets really irritated, and then she kind of wants to punish everybody. You feel like kids in the elementary school. Oh, no, can't do this anymore. Don't do that anymore. So she kind of makes it more of a negative experience. But
I have seen that. So I would say, definitely a lot of people are annoyed with especially any commercial buyers, because commercial buyers are always looking for an in or something transactional on top of it, versus just a consumer customer will just come in, browse, and leave. And you get both sides. You get managers who want to move everything to commercial type people in bulk, and then other ones that want to get full amount for the good stuff, and they will hide it. They want like 10 customers to find it, and then one of them pays full price instead of you paying full price and you don't buy anything else.
right. Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's been rough. Yeah. The whole, it's just like a lot of negativity. So I'm trying to figure out other things to do, maybe choose a new Goodwill, because the one that I've been to, it's been so great for so many years. They've always had issues, but it's never been to this extreme. And I would leave, like I said, with tons of stuff before. So now I'm kind of like caught in that spot, just trying to figure out new avenues maybe to explore and search out.
Yep. It's all going to rotate. It's all gonna change, in my opinion, unless it's a specific person. Like unless you're dealing with the district manager, which usually doesn't change, or it's a mom and pop owner and you know the person. Because there's a local thrift shop here that I get everything for $1, like anytime I go. So that's like just from years of going. But if you have the more corporate ones, those can change dramatically. So that's why I recommend 8 to 10 different sources of similar stuff so you can rotate around. And the fresh stuff is where you're going to get the home runs, and I think that's important for everyone to have. If you have time to go, you should do, I call it one lap across your vendors to see. You'll get lucky once in a while. Cool. So I would say don't give up on that goodwill, but definitely date around. Hannah, what's up? How's
Hey
local?
Chris, morning everybody. So my sourcing, I am still kind of in the experimentation stage. I've mostly been Goodwills. I have a pretty Goodwill route. Like I have one Goodwill where they really underprice their shoes. I have one Goodwill in like a bougier part of town where they always have designer bags for $8. So I have like 3 or 4 Goodwills where I consistently find stuff. I also have search alerts set on my local Facebook marketplace, specifically for 3 designer purse brands that a lot of people around here use and have, and they often, give them away for like $10. Like this morning, I found a vintage Coach bag. I got it for $10. It's worth $700. So those searches are nice, and I have it limited to local, so like I don't have to pay shipping. And that has been a pretty consistent source. And then I'm trying to, I've been to a couple flea markets. We don't have a ton of flea markets here, just because I'm in an area where it's like a lot of like a really high end expensive area. So there's just not a lot of like flea markets. So I've been to a couple, and I have tried to establish some relationships. I printed out like business cards last week with like my contact information. I started because even when I just started, like in the first few weeks, there was like 2 handfuls of occasions where I was like, damn, I wish I had a business card that I could just like give people, because I'm super like extroverted and outgoing and friendly, and I talk to a lot of people, and I've like so many people have been like, oh my gosh, what's your number? I'll call you. And so but it felt silly. I was like, I've only been doing this for 4 weeks. It feels silly to have a business card, but I have now like made business cards, started handing them out. I also just this past weekend established a relationship with a local estate sale company. I do a lot of estate sales where they post really good pictures online. So I'm like very sure like that I'm going to go to this estate sale and I know what's going to be there. I've done a few like estate sales where they just, like post them on Facebook or whatever, like, oh, come to this estate sale. And it's always hit or miss, which feels like a waste of time to me. Like I like to do the ones where they post the pictures online. So I know like I will have a plan, like I want to go and get this, and this when I get there. So establish a relationship with a local estate sale company to basically come in when everything is done and have a pick of stuff basically for like $1, which is nice because I'm into clothes and more like vintagey purses. And a lot of the people around here are mostly here for like the antique furniture and stuff like that. So a lot of times like all the clothes will be left, or like a whole guy's collection of hats will be left. So I'm still definitely in the experimentation phase. I know I need to make it so that it doesn't take me so much time. Like, because I want to scale, I can't be going to Goodwill. Like I'll never find enough stuff to be going to Goodwill unless I go to 5 Goodwills every single day, and I do that for 8 hours every day. So I'm really working hard to establish more relationships to find stuff that will come to me more easily than having to spend 8 hours at a Goodwill to get the things for 1 week.
So I'm making a list right now of the things you can do for local. So flea markets, you can hire a buyer, you can do a local thrifting route. I think if I were coaching you, Hannah, one-on-one, I would we would work on 100 saved searches.
Mhm.
We would work on like 100 bolo items for you personally that you think you could find in your area, maybe higher end items because you live in a higher end area. And then garage, church, and neighborhood sales, because those are so random, we would just want to know what weekends there are major sales where maybe you can hit up 25 garage sales in one weekend. That I like, I'm embarrassed that I don't know all of those in my area because it's so affluent here. I really should go there to like, if every home is over $5 million and they have a 20 house garage sale, I need to be there. So then the estate sale companies and realtors are big because they know when people are moving. So you can get the insider knowledge there. But the 100 save searches, I feel like you should be able to take advantage of that, especially in the vintage purse game. A lot of people don't know. You can find that type of purse. Like let's just say vintage coach. Vintage coach is a good one because they're on eBay all day for 30. People
Yeah,
don't know.
no, I have started just the last couple weeks doing a lot of online arbitrage. Like coming up with search terms, like if you search for like old coach purse, like people don't even know to put vintage in the title. Like, so, and like I said, a lot of people, like I live in a very affluent area. So that purse that I got this morning was just like this guy. I went to his house this morning to pick up the purses. He's like some millionaire. He lives in this crazy mansion. He was just like selling his wife's purse collection. And was just like sold me this vintage coach purse for $10. He had no idea what it was.
And doesn't care.
And no, he totally doesn't care. Like I'm pretty sure if he had handed it to me and I said, this is worth $700, I'm gonna go sell it for $700 in an hour, he would have been like, yeah, whatever.
Good for you. I know there's plenty of that. One thing I do for online arbitrage is I put the date and cost in my name. So I'll go like 052322 30. I'll put like that in the title for me so that I can put that in the custom SKU right when I get it. Because online arbitrage is kind of like confusing if you have 50, 60, 100 orders coming in. So you need to kind of remember where they are. And so for me, I just like to know how old the package is. And then what I've been doing is when I want to list, like let's say returns and online arbitrage to me are the same because they require processing. I'll fill up one bin and then go process all of them at the same time. And that's a really efficient system because essentially if you bought 10 items online every day, then you would get 10 items every day in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
Kept doing that, you would have this flow of what comes in today in the mail is what I list. And I'm sorry, Hannah, what state are you in?
I am like in between DC and Baltimore, so like near
Okay.
Annapolis, Maryland.
So you have there's plenty of stuff around you. You'd have to, if you had a good habit of online arbitrage, then you would have a consistent flow. But I'm going to add one more thing here, which is okay. So this was really clever. There was a couple in Canada that hired a virtual assistant to analyze and populate a Google sheet with deals. So they had a Google document where they shared with the virtual assistant the virtual assistant would comb Kijiji and Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and populate all the local deals and research what they sold for on eBay, Amazon, etc. So when they woke up, that couple would just, in order from most profitable to least profitable, start calling all those people. Like, okay, we're looking for, you have a lawnmower that's worth 1,000 for 200. How about 80, right? They would just do that as a couple and they would both hit the phones in the morning. And their goal was to source $1,000 profit a day as a couple. So wake up, go through the VA's leads, call. then spend the rest of the day getting it and listing it. They had a very, very high ASP, over $100. So it doesn't take too many items to do that. But you do need a little help because it's um, a lot of leads, and almost like instead of calling by what's most profitable, you almost want to call by just posted because sometimes that stuff goes quick. So
Oh yeah, it goes super fast a
So
lot of
fast.
times. Like you have to like I have notifications set for those searches, and like as soon as it's posted, you have to be like super on it.
Yep. I flipped, I think, 3 Up a Baby strollers for fun. And those are pop up all the time. And they are like between 50 and 500 on Facebook Marketplace, depending on it, how lazy the parent is or how badly they want it gone. Because $50 it'll be gone in an hour. So you can do whatever searches you like, but Hannah, I would probably train you to do 100 local searches and then maybe something like they're all in a folder. And then you just open all in folder, they all open, and you just scroll through each search term and look quickly on all of them. And then that you can actually train somebody to do that. And maybe they only contact you, maybe they ping you on Skype if there's a deal. Because if it is a game of whoever responds first, then you need someone constantly looking.
Right.
All right, cool. So you live in an area where you could find it. It's just you need more time.
Yeah.
Armin, what's up? How's local sourcing?
Hi, Chris. Hi, everyone. Yeah, it's been good. I've been trying to establish some days and not go and pick up things every single day. I think getting a schedule on when to go and pick up the stuff has been really helpful. And at the minute, I've been really lucky because I just developed this relationship with one of we call them here charity shops, but I don't really know what's for you in the US. I think it's sort of a goodwill or something like that. But
It's a thrift store here, but charity shop.
okay, yeah. And yeah, so basically have been really lucky with them, and I have full access to the entire shop before they open, so I can basically pick up anything I want. I try to be fair with them and not only take like the best stuff, just try to take some normal things, which they've realized I do, and slowly getting better prices and more inventory, and they start knowing me and putting things on the side as well. And then mostly I do flea market, I think you call them, so boot sales, where I once again just trying to say what I do, how I do it. Listen, I'm honest with you, I need some meat left on the bone in order to buy your item. I don't mind buying it, but I need to make a profit. And sometimes just people like it, sometimes people don't like it, which is fair enough. But I try to sometimes say to them, like, selling online is not as easy as you think. So but they've been really friendly, so I've been really lucky. And now I've got some suppliers for football boots, trainers, brand new stuff. So yeah, I can't complain. I need to develop more, obviously, to not rely only like, I think I might have 3 fixed people at the minute, and I just need to get a bit bigger.
Okay. What you did by exchanging, like buying some stuff that maybe they don't want, that's like you're essentially doing a service for them by helping them sell something that maybe is more challenging. So I think everyone needs to read this book called Profit First. Not Profit First. Pitch Anything. It's called Pitch Anything. I'll put it in the chat. So it's kind of a corny name. And it's not really, in my opinion, what the book is about. But Pitch Anything talks about the most valuable chapter in the book is talking about how to trade things of unequal value. That is the key to all relationships. Something that's not valuable to you, but very valuable to them, they will trade you a lot of stuff for that. So as an example, I'm trading you guys this mentorship for ideas, right? I want to know what resellers are struggling with, so I will never run out of content ideas if you guys just tell me what you're struggling with, what you need help with, different ideas, and you're getting a much smaller group size and being able to ask questions directly or share your experience. That is the key to all relationships. Something that for you can deliver easily, but for them, it makes a huge difference. So if you're in an affluent area and somebody's selling, like I did a TikTok where if a girl is selling her cheating boyfriend stuff, she's motivated, right? She's ready to get rid of all of it. And that's the point. The lower the price, the better, right? So it's even like you're doing her a favor by clearing out all the stuff that she's trying to get rid of immediately. But for some people, if they don't like whatever it is they need, your job is to investigate how you can trade on equal value. And I like this book because he doesn't know that he's teaching that, but that is what it is. Because he's talking about like how to get big deals in business, but like the way he does it is he looks for what people need that he can provide and has a big difference for them, but small difference to him. So got to be able to trade, look for what people are looking for. And it's never a good idea to only buy the good stuff. Like I'm launching another t-shirt show next Friday, and there will be, let's see, 3,000, I think 5,000 t-shirts in that sale. I was basically able to buy all of that guy's good stock because I bought all the low stock. So this made a huge difference. So try to break even or make a couple bucks on the lower end stuff. You can always get the higher end stuff. But he gets tons and tons and tons of requests for just the good stuff. I think I might be able to sell more stuff in 2 months with him than he has in 20 years because of how slow it is to meet up with people one at a time. He's like, oh, people from Japan fly in, they stay at a hotel, they come in, they spend a couple thousand. And I'm like, that's so much work for just a couple $1,000s gross. Imagine if Hannah had to fly in that guy for one coach purse. Doesn't make sense. You would do that if he sold the entire wife's collection to you. You would do that. You put him up into the hotel and say, okay, day one you show up and I unpack your car and you get to stay at the Four Seasons on me for a weekend, and we do consignment, and it's 50%, 50%. Fees come out of my end. You don't do any work. Somebody like that might sign up for that. But if he valued that, but as another example here, in order to play at Pebble Beach, which is like the hardest public golf course to golf at, you have to stay at the hotel, which is like $1,000 a night, right? So nobody wants that. You can actually buy that $1,000 hotel from that golfer for like a turkey sandwich. They don't care. They're not gonna stay at the hotel. They would rather have a turkey sandwich right now on the 9th hole than stay at the hotel. There's no value to them because they're not staying there. They just did it to play the golf course. So that's what everyone should be looking for always with every relationship. What does this person need? What do they value? It's usually time, loneliness, or money. That's like 99, or hungry. That's like, man, hungry is big. Cool. So Arwen, I'm glad that you have that. The being able to shop before they open is amazing. But go ahead. You have a question or feedback?
Yes, I just had a question on regarding something that's been happening to me for the last 2 weeks. I basically going to the flea markets. I've been seeing this man that he's been having, I don't know how you call them, but they basically have the same pair of boots or something, and they will have it like 60 or 70 times. And every single time, it's been 2 weeks in a row, I've been going there asking for the price of the shoe. The price is very good. I do a research or something, I come back to it, and obviously the price is high. It's not high for one pair, but it's high to take 50 pairs because it might be £40 a pair or something. And by the time I say to myself, I'm going to buy one or two to test the product on eBay, I do it. The sells literally instantly. Maybe when I come back home, obviously after the flea market, I list it and it sells for a lot, and then I miss on the whole chance. So I wanted to ask you, when it comes to these big, sort of like, I know I'm not going to see him every single time, and I know he's not going to come across these kind of deals every day, but how would you approach someone like that, just to say, listen, I want everything, or if I don't know how to really explain it.
You have to figure out what does this person need?
Okay.
Like, you're trying to make a deal for a larger order, right?
Yes.
So I guess you just slowly work up from a small order. You order one, and then I'm going to give you an example here. This person, right? They have one listing of football cleats, not
Oh yeah.
not real football, but American football, right? So he sold 222 pairs of the same exact style, right? So essentially he's buying out either small stores that are liquidating or whatever, but you can see here, this is a multi-listing where he has all of them in one picture, one main picture, and then all the individual ones listed. But when you have a listing like this, sometimes you can let them know, like, I'm serious. I'm like, you need a good resume for them to sell all their stock to you. And usually when you have a listing like this, you can pay a little bit more, because I was just searching for carbon fiber football cleats Nike, and I scrolled down and I saw the listing right here. But I know a lot of people have been copying this model where they like, this is the ultimate one. I think this one has sold easily 3,000 pairs of the same thing. This is an older listing. I mean, I'm sorry, newer listing for them. But like, imagine, like, people are like, oh, I can't find enough of the same thing. You can literally only sell this and just look for it everywhere. And you can pay the most because your listing always comes up when people are looking for it. This is where earlier we were talking about, you want to be the on the front page of search. So this one's always on the front page of search, and the other one we looked at, these two are always on the front page. So maybe these two listings alone get 10% of all the sales, right? That's a lot. Most people are selling one or two pair. They're selling hundreds of pairs. So you can focus this narrow, and you could just be vintage coach lady if you wanted to, because there's enough vintage coach that you could do that, but you would have to really focus and let every single purse seller know this is what you do. And also, this is actually the most important part. You can pay the most. That's really what that guy wants to hear. Like, if Hannah was paying $350 for every $700 coach vintage bag because she has enough of a following and she knows she can get 700, then everybody would sell it to her because they would get all the money. So pay the most, pay the most, buy the most. Great resume of a really good store. That's huge. Let me go to Brittany's question. Brittany's asking, so you can do that. You can either do, you can have a school sign up for a nonprofit status on eBay. Is it eBay Giving Works? Something like that.
Yeah.
And you can plug them in, but I actually recommend that you just write them a check if you
Okay.
can.
Skip that step.
Yeah, because I hate eBay charity. It's confusing. They take the money whether or not you get paid. So
Okay.
like, it's a bit annoying on the accounting end. So it's almost like I'd rather do the like, there was a soul for profit. It's like a pretty common name of a charity, but essentially they pay kids to do shoe drives, or like, everybody go out, get 100 kids to ask 100 neighbors to donate shoes. All those shoes come in, you pay the school $5 a pair or something, and they win, you win, instead of on the back end. That's really hard to set up.
Right.
Mary does eBay for charity, 10% and 10% off your fees, but they take it even if you don't get paid. So that happened to me on a $10,000 item. I'm not that salty, but they take I didn't want to ask them for the money back. It's really like I know you don't want to be that guy. So it's a challenging. Favorite animal charity is great. There's a lot of charities that have like a eBay store type deal. So it's kind of a great way to a great and simple way to raise money is to sell stuff. And I like the writing them a check model. Brittany, how about yourself? We talked about this before last week, but local.
This weekend, Friday and Saturday, I did go out to a couple Goodwills and yard sales just to give it another try. And I found a few things, but I think in total over 2 days, it was like 30 items. It was just not enough. Like I came home and listed those right away because it was not enough stuff. And I really need to figure it out like ASAP. I have like maybe if I'm lucky, the rest of this week's worth of inventory, and I'm kind of panicking.
Everything is off the floor.
Yes, everything is off. I'm very much organized in here. Everything's off the floor. I got a bunch of those clear bins and stacked stuff, and I only have 6 left for the rest of this week, and then I'm out of inventory. So that's good that I'm getting it cleaned up, but really need to figure out hiring a buyer, or probably going to have to go back to Portland if I don't get a pallet this week, which I did not want to do.
Can we all experiment? I have some homework for you guys this week. I'd like everyone to write a want ad. Let's post an ad on Craigslist asking for certain types of things that you sell. Offer cash, and let's all come up with a template on let's come up with a template. Maybe let's see. I will do that after this call. I'll invite everybody in and we'll have a best practices template. Let me write this down. Let's see. Create a want ad, because this is essentially like a dream list of what you want delivered at your house. So could I shop all day in Portland for a week and then drive over to Brittany and she gives me 1 check? I think so. Portland is like the mecca of people who don't want a real job. So like there's plenty of people who would love that. That's like their dream. Just shop all day at the Goodwill bins and then take their camper van on a 1-day trip, and then they'll just stay in. The problem is they may not go back to doing that. They might just do it once. And
yeah, I don't mind going there or like driving down there to pick it up because like my sister lives there, so it's nice to like visit with her. But to go and hope that I get enough stuff.
But to go and pick up from somebody would be worth it.
I would definitely go pick up from somebody because I could just go once or twice a month, stay with my sister for a long weekend. It would be lovely. But to go to the bins for a week and then turn around and list it, and then I'm out pretty quick, and then I have to do it again. Like I was going every other week. So I was spending like half of the month there. Like every week my kids were at their dad's house, I was spending there, and that just gets exhausting. And it's also not good for my store because I'm like shopping for a week and then listing for a week and then shopping. And I wasn't having enough draft bank built up, and
Okay. I love it. That's we're all going to work on
for sure.
And I want actually everybody to email me what your want ad will look like, because that essentially is a wish list. What do you want? Do you want it all folded? In a perfect world, you'd know how much you could pay. So like, as an example, yesterday I was telling my lady, I'm gonna pay you hourly to help me come look stuff up, and then eventually I want to pay per piece. And I would rather pay you a lot for a few pieces. It's easier, saves us both time. Hannah could pay $100 per purse if it all made sense. You'd pay $1,000 per purse on top of what it costs if it was worth it. That's like the where Hannah lives. There's like, or here too. You could figure out a way to get on the Birkin list, and it's not that hard, and you can make like $5,000 a purse, but you have to like figure out how to actually get on those, and it's not fancy. Sometimes you just have to buy X amount of purses, get your personal shopper, and you'll get on the list, and you can get like a non-exclusive one. And when I bought the Louis Vuitton Kanye sneakers with the pink bottom, I think I paid $1,800. I went there and then told the person, how do I do this? And he's like, no one has even asked. So I'll just email you when we get them. And then I got the email. I went there, got one pair. I think it sold for $4,000, like the same day. Those sneakers are like, people don't even think about getting on those lists. I think we don't talk about that enough in the group, but maybe everyone should get a $1,000 profit a month sale. It helps. It's going to take a little more like homework to figure out where this stuff is, but those customers never return anything. They don't leave feedback. So the high-end stuff there's no shortage. They ran out of $5 million houses. Like those are really hard to find now. That's how many people are making a lot. So must be nice. So as far as local sourcing, actually, let's go with Amber.
So right now, so I live a good ways away from town. So it takes me probably about 20 minutes to get to the nearest Goodwill, which isn't bad. And I tend to find a good bit of stuff there. But I'm more lately, since yard sale season started, I've been hitting up yard sales. But my only problem with that is, since I live out in the country, if I'm not going to like a neighborhood yard sale or something, then it's really not worth it, because it could be a 20-minute drive in between yard sales. But I usually will get on there and try to plan out a route the night before I go. And it seems like lately the yard sales have been starting earlier. Like last week there was yard sales on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But usually I get on there and plan out my route, and I try to look for just church yard sales or neighborhood yard sales, and I end up doing pretty good there, especially if I get there early. If I don't get there early, then usually all the good stuff's gone.
Definitely. And it's always worth it to spend a half an hour the day before or the night before putting them in order and being the early bird.
Oh yeah.
And offering to buy some of the good stuff or some of the average stuff. Let's see. All right. Let me see here.
I do live probably about an hour from Atlanta. I want to try to like research and figure out what good areas in Atlanta, and maybe I hate Atlanta because of the traffic and all that, but I really feel like that's where all the money is at. So eventually I'm going to try to figure out a route and start going towards Atlanta, because out where I live, it's hit or miss sometimes.
I think you need to spend a whole day in Atlanta, 1 day a week.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Get that route and then bring some lunch and then go for it.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Gabrielle, what's up?
Hi. So for us with sourcing, we've talked a lot about like how we're going to have to shift going forward, because right now we mostly do Goodwill, thrift stores, of course, garage sales as well. But eventually Richard wants to be able to leave his job to do this full time. And we're going to need to source like a significant amount more than what we're sourcing right now. So we need something. I did the math, and I think to source enough to replace his income, I mean, it would be 30 to 40 hours of Goodwill sourcing a week. And it's like, that's just a lot of time to spend sourcing. And I don't think we have it to spare. So we just have to get more creative. But right now, like this morning we went to the bins, found actually pretty, like couple bags worth of stuff, pretty good. About $1.50, came out to about $1.50 an item. But yeah, we're still just doing thrift stores and garage sales mostly, and need to be able to find alternate options, I guess.
That actually sounds right on the money, because I was thinking it would take 20 hours a week to make one person's income of just shopping. So for two people's incomes, one person full-time shopping, one person full-time doing the other thing actually does make sense to me. Without any shortcuts, that's how long it would take.
Yeah.
So that is actually interesting thinking about it. The hacks are people and I guess knowledge of the route and like maybe when people put things out or which days there's sales and going the day before so you get everything before everyone shows up on dollar day. Yeah, that's gonna, I'm glad that you figured that out because that's gives you an idea of how much time savings it is to have kind of a hookup.
Yeah. Well, something we actually, so we had purchased some shoes for ourselves, like new shoes at this local running place. It's like more of a boutique small business, but they sell like higher end running shoes and stuff. And so we went and got some ourselves, and we were talking to the guy. He just owns it and runs it completely himself. And he was talking about just certain inventory that doesn't sell well in Fort Worth, and he isn't selling it. But of course, I'm sure online it would sell just fine. And he was talking about like how he's had to get rid of like large amounts of certain shoes because they just don't sell. And when we left, I told Richard, I was like, we need to make connections with people like that. We're going to wait until we actually have the capital to put up, because we don't want to go to somebody and be like, oh, we'll buy your inventory that didn't sell. And then not have the money to put up for it. So we're going to wait until we actually have the capital to start trying to make those connections. But that was one way I thought about it, like more small business that they need to liquidate all the stuff that's not selling. I thought maybe that would be a good idea, but that's all I've come up with so far.
I think another idea might be paying early. I'm going to write this down. Like sometimes small businesses are running really thin. So paying a little bit early might make this not a big difference to you. Like paying, like as an example, maybe you pay the same day you pick up or the day before you pick up. Sometimes that can stand out ahead. And but I think the biggest, or I forgot to add in, space is a big reason why people will work with you. Let's see, space. Okay. Space, time, money, cash flow. Your kids go to dance together. That's always like the big actual relationships. All right. So where are you guys again?
We're in like Dallas, Fort Worth.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So there's plenty of stuff there.
Yeah.
You need to figure out how to just get it.
Probably 10 Goodwills within 20 minutes of us.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
There's also a Goodwill Computer Works in Texas where they test goods and all the stuff for sale has been tested and is working. That's like the only state I've seen where Goodwill has an electronics separate location. There's only one or two, I think, in Texas. Cool. Let's go with Chad. Chad, what's up? Local sourcing.
Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, so I technically live in Houston, but Houston's gigantic. So I'm actually 30 minutes from downtown, like proper, and 30 minutes from Galveston, the coast. So I'm kind of right in a good spot, right in the middle. I live right across the street from the Space Center. And yeah, there's tons of thrifting opportunities within a 20-mile radius. I mean, countless. I haven't gone to them all, and I've lived here my whole life. So I'll hit up the Goodwills. It's kind of my last resort. There's so many mom and pop and church thrift stores around that have such cheap opportunities. I mean, I don't pay more than $2 or $3 for a t-shirt. Usually it's 50 cents to $1. Polos for nothing. And so I'm very fortunate to have that opportunity. And so I'll kind of pick a section of Houston. I live again South Houston, so I'll pick some areas around me. And one day I might go hit Pasadena, not California, Pasadena, Texas, or Pearland or Friendswood, these other little areas. And then since it's warm here most of the year, garage sales typically happen almost year round. And so Thursday night, I'll typically make a route, load it on my Google Maps, and have it all sorted by when the time is and distance, and kind of try to get all that together, and then make the routes on Friday. But I typically only source 1 or 2 days a week because my store is small, and so I'm trying to get every system, not just posting and listing and pictures, but sourcing as well, and time and storage management, all kind of at the same level, working optimally at the low level. That way I can just kind of scale it all together. I don't want to overbuy and then be like, I'm only selling 3 a day, or underbuy and I'm selling 20 a day or something like that. So right now I'm in a good spot. I got a really good draft bank. I got about a week and a half right now built up, and about 5 70-gallon bins of like extra inventory, mostly winter stuff. But that's kind of what I do. I've tried some different things. There was an estate sale. I actually live in the neighborhood that was built along with the Space Center for like the astronauts and the workers and stuff. So it's an old neighborhood, a lot of history. Our next door neighbors had an estate sale, and I just went over there every day, just chatting with the people. And I said, hey, when it's all done, I'll take all the rest of the stuff. And they were like, great. Like, how much? I'm like, I don't know, $100. And they're like, sure. And that was a huge mistake. It was like weekends of work and a garage stacked to the top with, you talk about an everything seller. I was like, I'll never do this again. But I learned, I was like, I'm never doing this again. I had a garage full of glassware and vintage chairs and furniture and bookshelves and clothes. I mean, it was a mess. My wife was like, you're going to do this like every weekend? Like, how are we going to do this? And so now I'm down to like listing 5 items a day. I sell mostly jeans and t-shirts. So I've kind of niched down to that, and I can know where to find them, for $1 or $2 per item. And so I'm kind of in a groove right now, and I feel good about my sourcing. The one thing I would like to do is you talked about business cards. I hit up a few estate sales last weekend. I didn't have a card, but I was like, hey, what do you do with your old clothes, or the clothes I don't sell? And they're like, oh, we don't normally donate them. I'm like, well, I'll take all of them. And they're like, okay, well, give me your number. And so I don't know if that's a good way to do it. I don't know if they would pick me over someone that said, I'll take everything, like I did for that one. So I'm trying to find that trying to lock into a groove there, find some people who maybe, like, I went to this one place, they always have new stuff. They always have great vintage stuff. And I asked the guy, I'm like, hey, can I buy more of the stuff you get in? And he kind of laughed at me. He's like, I've got a guy that's been buying from me for years, and he pays $5,000 a month for an 18-wheeler full of clothes. I was like, oh, well, I'm not there yet, but I'm like, I want to buy from that guy though. The guy that's buying the 18-wheeler, I'm like, let me go through it for $300 and pull out some vintage tees and stuff. So I just don't know how to make that connection yet. It's kind of where I'm at. I can source all day at the Goodwills, but I'm like, I'm ready to kind of find those people who buy those big bulk lots of unsearched clothes and, give me a crack at it.
There's that, and then there's credentialized clothing. So I would not look out for credentialized clothing, because that stuff has usually been squished together into a bale. So
Mhm.
that's what happens at the very end, but you're right. You want to be able to pick from that person before. So
Yeah.
ideally, if that person has a few people like you, then they can even order even more. Because
Yeah.
that happened to me. I buy enough from some of my suppliers that they were able to up their order.
Yeah. So I just don't know how to get there yet. And yeah, I know it's about reputation. It was funny. My wife and I were at a garage sale last weekend, and someone said, "Hey, don't you sell like vintage t-shirts and jeans and stuff?" And I didn't know who this person was. And I was like, yeah. He's like, "Yeah, I saw you at a garage sale last weekend." And I'm like, "Oh no." I told my wife, I was like, "It's starting." I'm starting to be the guy that's like, "Hey, I know that guy. It's the vintage guy." But then was cool. Another dude was like telling me, he gave me some tips. He was like, "Hey, these Rockets t-shirts, man. Again, I live in Houston." He's like, "You can find these for cheap." And the Travis Scott Cactus Jack, giveaway shirts sell for $60. I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." Cool. So I'm starting to get that ball rolling. I'm getting out there and getting known as someone who's a reseller. And I don't know if it's just a wait, have to wait on it until those kind of bigger accounts come. But I'm not in a hurry. I'm not trying to, buy an 18-wheeler every month yet. But when that day comes, that'll be cool. I would like to get there.
All right. All right, everyone. Let's focus on creating a want ad before tomorrow. Or, I mean, not tomorrow, but this week. The sooner the better. And that way we can start creating a wish list of what to post. And at one point, I heard Craigslist Hunter had 9 different ads at the same time going to get people to bring stuff to his store. So that's interesting. We can get all the people somehow leverage getting people to bring stuff to us. Then that's going to be a huge time saver. And we want to turn Gabrielle's 40-hour situation for 2 people into, I think maybe it's like using Calendly or something, and people pick a time on your calendar that works and they show up and deliver X amount. Somebody earlier had mentioned Plato's Closet. They do that. They do by appointment, but it's pretty slow. Like I wouldn't ever sell the Plato's Closet in bulk because it would take forever. So somehow when the person shows up, they need to get paid fast. So they like somehow you need to make sure it's a good deal and pay them fast quickly so that people keep doing it. Ideally, it would be like me bringing Gabrielle 400 items that are perfect and ready to list. But what is that? Does that mean they're already cleaned? They're already repaired? Do they have to all be brand new? I think if as long as it's not all brand new, then it's less scary because all brand new could be stolen. Yeah, Ashley says that Plato's Closet lets you leave and come back, but it's still slow. I want to just go drop off and get a check. Go ahead, Jen.
I was going to say one thing I think that to my advantage, and I don't know, I may be I'm approaching this wrong, but since I sell, just mainly tees, sweatshirts, hoodies, jeans, like kind of everyday stuff, and obviously look for the vintage stuff. And so I'll tell these thrift stores and stuff, I'll give them my number and I'll say, "Hey, even if it's dirty or got holes in it or stained," and they're like, the look on their face is like, "You want stained and dirty?" I'm like, I might get a ton of garbage, but if I find that one or two, concert tee that's ripped to shreds and stained, that still sells for 500 each. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's like, I mean, it's a lot of going through, a lot of sorting, but I'm not going to put an ad out, be like, "Wanted Nirvana t-shirts from the 90s, pay $5. No one's going to do that, like.
No, you want to say paying top dollar for vintage t-shirts and nostalgia. And then you pay $250 for that shirt. Like,
Yeah,
a want ad, you got to pay up, but then it comes to you. I'll pay up every day if I don't have to leave. Like, gas is expensive. We want to get people drive. And when people drive to you, yes, they want a little bit more money, but they're ready to sell it. When you go there, it's like always like, do you even really want to do it? Like, that's why, like, the 5,000 t-shirts that I bought are being delivered today. He on his way over here, he's already decided he doesn't want them anymore. So then it's easier. That's like when you want to gauge how desperate somebody is, you always say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm at work. Can you come drop it off today?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, I can come." And if they say anytime, then you know, like what's wrong with you? How come anytime on a Monday? You know? So that's the best. But everyone have a